Well, good morning. My name is Jesse Ahmed, and I'm your host of Valley News Now. And I've got a great topic for a Monday morning: growth mindset. And I have an expert here, growth mindset expert Alvaro Nunez. And here he is. Thank you so much, Alvaro, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Jesse, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
It is wonderful. Well, I've been looking kind of at your work and some of the things you do, and you do everything. I mean, you're an author, you're an entrepreneur, you are a founder of Super Luxury Group, skydiver, helicopter pilot, this amazing race that you did. Um, but I love what you say about when you key in on a purpose, you make the time and you find the time, and it being consistency and discipline. So let's just dive right into this growth mindset. Um, Tell us kind of where we begin. We all want this, right? Where do we even start?
Well, I think we can just have the basic on knowing that everything happens twice, first in your mind and then in reality.
Yeah.
So it's all about having that big purpose on what you want to do in life. And some people is like, well, but I don't know. So it's about starting to dream a little bit because sometimes we
Yes.
forget about dreaming, right? Or we
Yes.
give up on our dreams. So setting up that vision and then asking yourself why you want to do that. So
Yes.
it is true that as you start building those little habits and routines to get yourself towards that big vision, you're going to start creating the compound effect, building momentum, and it's going to get you wherever your mind sets yourself to go.
That is exactly true. That is how it works. We get in this, I think, idea sometimes too that once we reach a certain age, maybe past our 20s, that we can't learn new things, and life doesn't work like that. But you talk about the idea of neuroplasticity. So tell us a little bit about what that means.
I will use a quote that Oprah Winfrey said that I love it, and I actually have it in my book. It says, the biggest adventure you can live is to live the life of your dreams. So I think that everything starts by igniting that fire within yourself.
Yeah.
And when you set your soul on fire and you start believing that whatever you want to do in life, it's worth pursuing, and you start working towards that, your brain will start adjusting because sometimes we put ourselves in too much of a comfort zone that we don't expand. And the brain is just wonderful because the moment that you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, it starts to adapt. And once you start expanding and adapting, that's when you start developing new skill sets. That's when you start becoming an upgraded version of yourself. And it's just fascinating.
It is. I love that. An upgraded version of yourself. That's exactly it. So hey, maybe we're kind of bouncing around a little, but the marathon that you did, the physical mental challenges that you faced in the Sahara. I watched some of the footage from that, and I'll put some of that up here on our website as well. Unbelievable. Plus, not only so, talk maybe about a little bit about those physical challenges and how you made it through that.
Right. So I always call it my misogi. I want to do one of these big challenges every year that pushes beyond my limits. And that is something that you can do regardless of being afraid. And this was considered the toughest foot race in the world. So it's 6 marathons in 6 days across the Sahara Desert, and you need to carry your own food and supplies. So just to make it
Plus,
a little bit more interesting, I wanted to do it not just for myself, but also to help those that are currently carrying that weight of depression. So I came up with that campaign and was carrying that weight in my back. So when you face a challenge of this nature, you're definitely not just facing a regular race. You're facing something that is going to test your limits mentally, physically, and spiritually.
oh, every way, and you're right, spiritually as well. I like that you talk about kind of the whole person there. So those kind of things might seem out of reach to somebody. Like, wow, I don't think I can do the most difficult foot race in the Sahara Desert. But we all can challenge ourselves to something more than we have been.
hmm I think everything starts by taking the first step towards something big. If you're setting up goals that are not big enough, you're just going to give up because there is
Right.
really nothing there that challenges you. So I always love to say that whenever you have a big dream, share it with the world. And if they tell you that you're not crazy, you're not dreaming big enough. When I was telling when I was telling people about this race, people thought I was crazy. So I knew that I was going in the right direction. And then when you have a big goal that scares you to that capacity, you know that you're going to have to really push yourself in order to get there. And I can share a little anecdote on what happened during that race
Yes.
because definitely, there's a lot of different stories, but I want to make it short and really keep it tight with what we're talking about the growth mindset, because I'm not a professional runner. I haven't done this for a living. I'm a strong athlete, but
Yeah.
as everybody else that starts in anything takes time, right, to
Yes.
reach that level of professionalism. So when
Hmm.
I go to that race, I see myself in the desert, surrounded by people that have won gold medals, world championships, people that I followed on social media that I idolated. I was like, wow, these guys are amazing. And then as the days advance, I see these same people laying on the ground, retiring, dropping out, and I was physically and mentally being so devastated because my conditions were not any near good as I thought it would be. And seeing also these guys on the floor retiring made me almost question, why am I here and
Sure.
should I quit? And it was that moment where I remember piercing blood everywhere, feet were destroyed, cramping everywhere. And I was about to give up. And then I thought about the bigger purpose, right? Why am
Hmm.
I here? I'm not here just for myself. I'm here for all the people, for all the names that I'm carrying on my back to help them cross these struggles through the Sahara Desert and then leave the weight behind. And when you have a purpose that is bigger than yourself, you find the strength. We have something here in our mind. We have that little treasure, and that key also lays within our brain, and you unlock that thing, you start getting a limited amount of power, and that's what made me push through. And
Wow.
it is fascinating to see that even though your body is getting worse, your mind is getting better once you have that mindset. And
Yeah.
even to the point where the last day I thought, well, I can even win this race, and I pushed myself to that point. So it is incredible what the mind can do.
It is incredible what the mind can do, isn't it? I've just myself kind of started to delve into this area as well. And it is unbelievable when you start believing in yourself, when you start dreaming big, like you said. And if your dreams don't scare people or they don't tell you you're crazy, it's not big enough. I love that.
But it's also about the little wins, right? Because a lot of people, they might get too afraid to even take that first step. Once
Yeah.
you start breaking it down, I call it the reverse engineering, right?
Okay.
So once you have that big goal, you start breaking it down backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, what do I need to do a year from now, a month from now, a week from now, a day from now? And then you
Hmm.
start adding those little wins to your belt, which is going to give you confidence, it's going to build momentum. And once you start moving that machine, it's just unbelievable how much force you can create.
It is, and I think that's where that discipline and consistency kind of play into, that you've talked about as well. You gotta not only dream it, but you gotta take those steps every day, every day, every day towards your goal, right?
Right, and I love that because that's actually the concept of what I talk about in my book,
Yeah,
Level Up. It's about not upgrading yourself, but level up. It's
yeah,
everything you do, and it's about the wheel of life.
yeah.
Because sometimes we forget that life is not just about your career. It's not just about your physical condition.
Right.
It's about everything. It's a
Hmm.
well-rounded life. You have your spiritual, you have your intellectual, you have
Yes.
your relationships, you have so many other areas that sometimes we do not put effort on. And the
Right.
book really talks about how you can level up in all areas of life. And everything starts with your mind. The
Yeah.
moment that your mind starts putting attention to each area and adds that energy and that purpose, that's what's going to create the momentum to really level up into anything you want to be in life.
I love that. Show me your book again and let's talk about where people can get that because I just feel so strongly that the education, having those tools to be able to do that. So where do we get that book?
Well, you can get it on Amazon. It's
Okay.
everywhere on Amazon. If you are more like me and you don't like to read as much, but more to listen, because I like to
Yeah.
maximize time. So when you go for a run or you're cooking,
Yep.
it's also on Audible.
Yep.
So just take it easy on the speed because I get so passionate when I'm narrating the book that it's very fast. So that's the only thing. But no, I hope that people will enjoy it.
Definitely. Oh, I want to listen to it. It's you are reading it yourself.
Of course, come on.
Oh, I
That
love
accent
that.
needs to come out.
I want to hear the passion and all of it. Oh, that is so great. Well, I appreciate your time so much today, but I do want to give you an opportunity if there's anything else that you want to talk about before I let you go. We sure can.
Well, I want to make sure that people get out of their heads sometimes and
Yeah.
start dreaming bigger. And once you start dreaming bigger, think in terms of, okay, what can I build that feels my passion.
Yeah.
Build a project, build a business, build whatever it is that is going to fuel that passion. And if you don't have any passions yet, start being curious. A lot of people don't have that curiosity mindset. Once you start being curious, asking yourself questions, connecting with more people, you're going to start expanding to limits where you're like, wow, there is really not limits. So go out there, ask questions, get curious, be passionate, and go after your dream.
Thank you so much. That's so inspirational. I can just feel that energy and passion just through the Zoom. My heart wants to explode. It's amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Jesse. I really appreciate you, and I wish you all the best.
I wish you the best as well, Alvaro. Thank you again so much. It's Jesse Ahmed on Valley News Now.